Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I've got Riley Sykard back on with me here today. It is Tuesday, June 23rd. We're going to hop into U.S. weather from a national yield perspective. Riley, boy, we spent some time here looking crop conditions. We'll get into that. Overall, off to a pretty good start this year. Illinois has got some issues. There's maybe too much rain in the north, not enough in the south. The eastern belt's had its struggle with too much moisture. I've got a lot of guys in Missouri that are, have been battling the too much moisture, which is not fun, but for the most part, they will yield better with more moisture than not enough. Overall, we're pretty well set on moisture for a lot of the Midwest. The Dakotas really still need to keep limping that along. There certainly is no surplus there, and they will need additional rains as time goes on. There's a lot of growing season ahead of us yet, but overall, things are off to a pretty good start. Riley, it looks like we got some heat coming into the forecast here in the near term. Maybe we can get a little bit of a bounce from that.
Yeah, I think the overall consensus right now is trendline yield or better, just like last year. So I think the market's definitely weighing that into where we're sitting today, but still a lot of time left in the growing season. You never know what can change. So with that said, let's see what the maps have to say here today. Start out with crop conditions. Overall, corn is unchanged. The one thing I wanted to mention is kind of some big swings across the board. Eastern Belt got down 7 in Ohio, down 6 in Illinois, but up 9 in Indiana. It kind of perplexes us as to how that exactly happens, but it's kind of for every tit, there's a tat as you're looking at this. Big state like Iowa is in Minnesota down 2, but then you got Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas all up to help counter. So overall corn left unchanged, and big swings are the something that I wasn't expecting to see. So on the soybean side, very kind of a similar thought. As you go northwest, both the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, conditions actually getting worse. But then as you look to the south and to the east, conditions improved a lot. So the weight I'm giving these maps, I don't really have the exact answer as to what's causing these big swings. We'll just have to see if it stabilizes more over the coming weeks. But as of right now, conditions are not declining. And that's the moral of the story as we're sitting here on June 23rd. So moving ahead into the map side of things, 1 to 5 day temperatures. We can see down in the south, 80s and 90s, some areas of Texas in the hundreds, but the reality is we've been pretty cool over the last 10 days, especially for this time of year. So 70-degree highs are definitely good for growing a crop. States further to the north could definitely use a little bit more heat to help them come along, but overall temperatures have been favorable. 6 to 10 day, Clint, you mentioned this in the beginning. This is where we're having some changes. Definitely some heat coming into the forecast. Eastern belt into the upper 80s for average highs, and Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, temperatures in the low 90s to upper 80s as well for highs. So where I'm really looking with this heat coming in is that western belt that we know they are on the drier side of life. That's been no secret this year, but they have been limped along by enough rains to keep them from showing tremendous stress. So with this heat coming in, will they start missing some rains and really maybe start drumming up a bit of a storyline, or will they continue to catch rains to help them out? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that's the first thing I think, Clint, we've seen in about 2 weeks that actually catches my eye a little bit as we're looking at these weather maps.
Yeah, and my thought process immediately is going to selling opportunities. That's what I'm going to be looking for on any kind of a bounce here. If the weather bulls want to flaunt the headlines of hot and dry, those are generally good selling opportunities. And if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, but I'm going to say it again. If 85 is hot, or if 85 is ideal, 93 is not hot. We are not hot and dry, but the weather writers will be very quick to throw in the hot and dry headlines, anything to spark an interest, and that's when we want to look for some selling opportunities.
Definitely wouldn't be too upset to see something like that take place, Glenn. But like you said, selling opportunities mean if something like it comes, you got to be ready to take advantage of it. So moving ahead here, last 2 weeks of rainfall. As I think everybody knows, there's been some kind of rain pretty much across the board. Everybody's gotten some people have way too much. If you look at southeastern Iowa, areas in northern Illinois, 6+ inches isn't very fun over the last couple weeks. So is there a thought of having some issues? Absolutely. There are some problem areas that are too wet right now and they need some heat to dry out. But on the flip side, if you look at the Dakotas, Minnesota, northern half of Iowa, a lot of these places have gotten ideal rains to really help them out. And from a national yield perspective, rain is a good thing a lot more than it is a bad thing, especially from how the markets and how the funds are looking at it. So all this rain is definitely brewing up what's been happening in the markets over the last couple of weeks. So
yeah. Hey, Bradley, let's go back there for just a minute. I just have a few thoughts to put on here in regards to the Dakotas. It has been cooler up there than what you would normally see. But they've been getting limped along here. So the coolness up there, combined with some accumulative rainfalls that are actually starting to show up on the map, are all a positive thing. And the other thing is you'd probably like to add 10 degrees, but they're better off being 10 degrees too cool than 10 degrees too hot under their situations. And the daylight hours here and there are just very extensive. So there's still, even with cooler temps, there's still a lot of advancement in the crop happening naturally due to the long days. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, everybody's attention here, that that little bit of rainfall, if we were 95 degrees instead of 75 degrees, would be a significantly different situation.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Clint. That was another good point. We are getting past the summer solstice, so we're right at the spot right now where days are about as long as they're going to get for the year. So that's definitely helping a lot of growth happen, even if temperatures aren't as warm as they might need to be. So moving ahead, 1 to 5 day precip, more rain potential in the western belt, northern belt, basically just leaving a hole in Iowa and northern Illinois, stretching through northern Indiana and Ohio, but everybody else has a shot at something over the next 5 days. And at this point, you're getting close to the beginning of July, and still seeing this much rain in the forecast is definitely a good thing for farmers that are growing the crop, but a bad thing for the markets as they're seeing that much rain still in the forecast. So kind of a mixed feeling when you look at a map like this. And moving into the 6 to 10 day, in the west, you're really starting to dry up in the southern western plains, but as you look in the Dakotas, they look like they still have a chance to just keep getting limped along, like you mentioned. So as long as they don't turn too absurdly hot, keep getting these 1/2 inch to 2 inch rains that are tiding them by, the trend line yield to better than trend line yield for the majority of the growing states is still there. So one other thing to note, Minnesota has been continuing to get these small rains as well. Sounds like conditions are very, very favorable for them so far. So just got to keep an eye on them as well. Other than that, Clint, if you put everything together in the 1 to 13 day, getting into the 6th of July at this point, there's still a lot of color on this map. So moral of the story is trendline yield looks very, very possible. Yield potential is high, and markets are definitely reflecting it. So that is all I got today, Clint.
Sounds good, Riley. I appreciate everybody tuning in again. Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sykard, Midwest Market Management. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.